Hey everyone, it's Timid Falconite, and I'm back with another match report from Egg Cup. So I won another one, um, and this is the 1v1 Stallingrad match, which is basically just basic tier 1 fog. Now the thing about Stallingrad, actually, that's a little bit different than you might. Well, I'll just go over the real differences from Global League. So the thing about Stalingrad, so this is top tier. Um, Normally it's just everyone in tier 1, minus Luxios, obviously. But the thing about Stalingrad is it's actually sort of interesting, because it's actually one of the few maps in Global League which actually has lab units. And there's this lab in the center here that makes it that is actually something that you sort of want to go for and might think of going for, because it actually bombers, neotanks, and stealth fighters are all locked behind that normally. Um, in Egg Cup though, they're not. So that's other than Nell, that's the main rule difference here. Well, in addition to like the other normal Egg Cup things. Um, but yeah, that'll basically be it. Basically, if you're choosing out of tier 1, it's Stalingrad, so it's a very big map. It's relatively dense. Like, I have to wait for this to load. Okay, so now, all right, there we go, there we go. Thank you, internet, for working properly. So it's actually got um, 52 properties, which is pretty large. Actually, it means that if you're even with your opponent, you should be expecting to be around 26k income every day. So that's a significant amount. It's a lot more. Well, it's a decent amount more than you normally see in fog or standard type matches. And it's like to a point where you can get out a bomber and 3 infantry and still have a bit left over. You can get you can easily get out a battlecopter plus 2 tanks, plus an infantry, or a recon or something like that. So it's something where you can pump out units, and what you build will matter a lot. Um, of course, normally in Global League, you're not going to be able to see bombers or stealth fighters or anything like that unless you have the lab. So, which means that it'll actually end up being a bit more expectant almost as to what your opponent's going to be throwing at you. If with the lab, so of course, this is Egg Cup, so all basically no holds are barred. For this map, I picked Hawk because Hawk is it's just numbers. It's just addition and subtraction in a map this big with this much income. Like, your total funds amounts are going to get basically skyrocket, meaning that Hawk's going to be even better than he normally is. I believe, honestly, Sasha isn't too bad in this map. Because that is an extra 2,600 income if you're in um, a tie with your opponent, which is enough to get you 28k, which is enough for like a bomber, a recon. Yeah, it's enough to get you a recon every turn with your bomber instead of infantry if you want it. So it's a bit more flexible than you might expect normally from Sasha. So Sasha's pretty good on this map, I guess. If you look at the analysis numbers, though, she's like 48% win rate compared to Hawk, who's sitting around 56. Same with Von Bolt, actually, 56. Which I thought, honestly, that was a bit surprising to me, but it's Von Bolt. Like, he's generally gonna be good no matter what. But I figured that like Stalingrad is so big that his day-to-day might be a little bit less important in the map analysis. Of course, this is Global League, so this is like every game, I think. So it's not just Global League, I don't think. Um, Yeah, 45% of these games were official, which is league. Who else is tier 1? I believe Javier is... No, don't pick Javier here. He's just worse on Bolt, honestly. Because there's only a couple of Tom Towers and they're too spread out to really be contestable. Olaf could be interesting, even though he's tier 2 because of how big it is, and because of how many planes there are, but there's enough roads to make it so that that's not something that'll matter too much. Sturm. No, don't pick Sturm. He's a rushdown. He's a very rushdown focused CO, actually. He's very good for rushing HQs, which you can't really do in Stallingrad because you have the HQ like right here. It's right next to 2 bases. And then Grit is bad in fog. I have a video about that actually. In which, honestly, it was maybe a little bit more due to him not building recons in fog, but like it's Grit in fog. Grit's not gonna be good in fog. I think he should be like tier 2 at highest in fog. And then Nell, the thing about Nell is she's a Luxio, which means she's tier 1. Meaning that she isn't actually normally expected globally. And her day-to-day luck is basically equivalent to Fox 10% firepower bonus. It's basically an extra 10% on average. Yeah, on average, maybe 10% extra luck, I believe. Although, maybe a little bit less. Because normally you have like 9 luck, which is about like +5 on average. So now getting... Yeah, +10 on average. So I'd say Nell's day-to-day is maybe a little bit weaker than Hawk's, but I'd say it's about even. And then her superpower is fucking stupid. Because it basically gives her enough luck damage to just kill units outright. So she can do stupid things like take out Neo-Tanks with infantry, meaning that you kind of actually just want to spam bombers against her. Honestly, it's not that bad of a strategy because she can't attack. Because the thing about bombers is you can't actually attack them with ground units, meaning that infantry can't. She can't use her infantry luck. You can still use them against battlecopters though. It's very, very good against battlecopters. So keep that in mind. That makes her pretty good on this map, especially because you have enough to just spam out battlecopters, so she can do a lot to battlecopters with just her infantry. Even on a day-to-day basis, it's like crazy how much damage she can do. I feel like I played Stallingrad on the channel before. But I'm gonna just go over it a little bit in detail. You have the comm towers here that are sort of spaced out semi-centrally. This one, generally you'll expect to go to player 2, and then this one you will generally expect to go to player 1 because they're a little bit closer to the production centers. But honestly, like Stallingrad, the funny thing about Stallingrad is it ends up being a bit of a stalemate, kind of how it was in World War II. Like, yeah, it's gonna be ending up being a stalemate, and you're gonna end up winning by like a couple properties, especially if there's like a day limit, like Egg Cup has. You're gonna end up winning by like a couple of properties usually. And these corner properties are gonna be super important as well because they're very difficult for both players to get to. So if you can secure both corners, you basically won. Of course, that's not a guarantee. Like if you just get the corners and you have nothing else in between, obviously you're gonna lose. But generally speaking, if you're able to keep both corners in about half of the rest of the map, you'll be able to win with just that. Comm towers aren't really contested, but they are sort of contested a little bit. But I feel like you don't really want to go past the comm towers. You're overextended if you're going past the comm towers. Well, yeah, even if you're going past your own comm tower. But let's go ahead and get into the match. So, starting out, obviously, basically just very, I guess, by the book infantry plays, going for the bases first. I think my opponent was like 1100 elo or so when we started the game. So I was a little bit I wasn't like pulling my punches or anything. I was taking this seriously. Like what I did with all of my matches, but like even more so than normal because I feel like overall my opponent is going to be generally going to be a better player than me. Of course, he's playing Nell, and the thing about Nell that makes it a bit weird to play is like you're both playing against her, which is weird, but you're also not really gonna have much experience playing as her. If you're just used to global league, so that's an interesting thing about went over there with that guy. Egg Cup, that's sort of it's a bit weird, man. So yeah. As you can see, my opponent, I'm taking a little bit of an early incomplete actually. And I think I'm about to fervor a little bit as well this next time. He's already got 2 tanks out. I have a tank and a battlecopter because, well, actually, I'm not sure if I'm probably gonna post it on the channel at some point. But I won a live league match against Go7 on this map once, and that was fun. But basically, he started with battlecopter spam, and I wasn't like I had an anti-air ready for it. So I wasn't like taken too off guard, but he was also playing Max versus my Olaf. And it was also live league, which is why that was the only reason I was able to win, probably because he took his time on his turns. So I mainly won due to time and managing my time more effectively. But anyways, long story short, I hate Peppers. That's why I built Battlecopter early. Now I got 2 tanks as well coming in here, and I'm moving in sort of towards this front because that's where his comm tower is, and that's sort of where my 2 base side is pointed towards. Like this is a little bit. I feel like I'm overextending maybe a little bit with my tank right now. But yeah, the Battlecopters are great on this map. You don't really need recon early on, but you will need them later on for sure. When you're just getting out of a big ball of infantry, you don't. But I think we both vote. Is that turn 9? Yeah, I think that's about when you want to build recons. Because you can pop out a battlecopter, 2 infantry, and a recon at that point, for sure. So I have 2 battlecopters out. Right now, I'm definitely ahead, quite significantly. The other thing about battlecopters that's really great is they boost your unit count. Because you can. And because if you're generally building infantry anyways, and you can afford that, it's just extra unit count. But if you don't do it, you're letting your opponent just get it for free, basically. So as you can see, I'm ahead on capping this property, but he's about to get to the corner as well. So that's good. He actually went for the early artillery, which I think like this artillery is going to end up being very good for him. So investing in artillery early on is actually, I feel like it's a pretty good move on this map. I feel like it might have been better to push it this way first, but it's definitely going to be useful over here. For sure. I get a transport copter out as well because I had the funds to do that. Right now I'm actually going to... No, I'm going to be... So... that may be the main reason why I ended up winning here. But... so he actually had this artillery here for a while. And funnily enough, I don't think I was like super prepped for it. So I fall back here. I move in with the battlecopter actually and take the shot here. So fun things about this is this battlecopter is actually in range of mine, but because I have 2 battlecopters, if he goes for the first strike here, I'm going to be able to counter with my own. And that's sort of what you want to do with battlecopters. Is you definitely want to keep at least 2 of them together at a time. You sort of want them to travel in packs because, and it's the same with tanks, but it's especially true for battlecopters because they don't get defense from terrain, and they do more damage to each other as well. Meaning, battlecopter encounters are really, really important to not fuck up. Something that I did fuck up on here was building this mech. Like, I had enough money to build tank instead, and I should have done that, actually. In hindsight, this was not the best move, but I kind of wanted to play with my transport copter level. Transport copters, I feel like, are pretty important in this map because it's just so big. So you need transport copters. You probably are going to end up needing an APC as well because you're going to be able to afford bombers and fighters and stuff, and they're going to run out of fuel. Actually. So he managed to bring my battlecopter down to like 8 health. I'm not sure, but I feel like I definitely knew that he had an artillery in this forest at this point. But I'm not sure if I did. I might not have. He's going for the anti-air here. Honestly, because the income is so high in this map, I'm not sure if anti-air are really the best decision to build here. Well, actually, no. I think they're a good decision to build here because they're basically insurance against bombers, enemy bombers, and a little bit to a lesser extent like enemy fighters as well. But like they only take like half damage. Fighters only take like half damage from anti-air, whereas bombers take like 90% damage from anti-air. So it's really important. And as you can see here, I'm pushing pretty aggressively here. I'm trying to make... Oh. I'm going to play this back pretty quickly, hopefully. I was able to get the nice luck roll there in order to capture here. Because, well, actually, no, it's guaranteed because I'm blocked, so I have 20%. Yeah, so I need for that. If you don't know, like units and like units can break through cities if there are 2 of them and you have plus 20% firepower. There I went for the interrupt with the battlecopter. Because I'm playing Hawk. Should not have done that. That basically just neutered my unit count for no reason. Moving in with the tank there is okay. With the battlecopter, I should have just pulled back and waited for my superpower for it. And then I could have just used it as an extra little bit of HP, fuel, and ammo for my... Yeah. 2 recons out from my opponent. I think I've got 2. Yeah, I've got 2 here. This one, and recons are very nice in this map because you can use them to interrupt caps. And, well, first of all, vision is super important in this map just because it's so big, so you need a lot of recons in order to be able to see what you're doing. But the second thing is just interrupting infantry like this because it's so big. It's a lot. It's so much money worth of funds. And it's basically, so it's the 1k for neutering the infantry for the first thing. It's another 1k if you join caps. Although I don't know if you necessarily want to join cap. But like it's even if he had an extra infantry in range, which he doesn't, that's an extra 1,000 gold actually because he doesn't have an extra infantry in range. So this recon definitely just paid for itself with that one attack. Like I'm not even kidding. That's so insanely valuable. How recons are so insanely valuable. So you definitely need to be spamming them out as much as you can afford them. And getting an early an early income lead like I did this time. I think that was definitely instrumental to my victory. As you can see here, my opponent's, well, he's making back the unit count a little bit. Did I get... Well, he definitely shot. Because he's leaving his artillery in that forest there. This is a pretty good forest for artillery, honestly. And like, this artillery paid for itself immensely. So like, this was an insane artillery on that opponent. There I sort of tried to go to the corner there, but I was kind of expecting to see an infantry there as well. Once you get down to like 1 or 2 HP, you either want to heal them, your infantry as fuck. Because conceivably, actually, because it's hawk, if you just spend a couple of turns healing your infantry, they can get back to like full operational capacity with his superpower. Like, it's not, his healing isn't nearly as good as Andy's, but it's still enough that like you can do a lot with it. Yeah, I definitely knew that artillery was there at that point. I just wasn't able to push through there. And I think he just left his artillery there for like 10 turns and just took shots with it basically every turn. And it did so much damage to me, I must say. It did so much damage. So, he's moving in here, taking a bit of my unit count, value off, basically just wiping out some of my units here. Very good turn for him this turn, actually. He actually managed, I think he actually manages to take the lead in unit count there. And he's actually semi-aggressively captain here as well. So this was an excellent turn for him. Oh, he was capping that one as well. I don't think I remember that. Using mechs to attack into cities is also very good. The strategy that I really like now, actually, ever since I did it on my flak thing. It's very situational, but like because mechs do extra damage to infantry, they're very good for just breaking open caps like that if you can get them into position. Of course, it takes forever to get them into position, so we're usually not going to end up being worth it. But so there, I'm doing a little bit of a fancy move with my transport copter. I feel like my transport game wasn't like optimal this match, but it ended up working out, and I was able to interrupt both of these caps actually, and this one too. And that's sort of my the main thing that you want to do in Stallingrad is you want to interrupt as many of your enemies' caps so you can, because it just takes so long to get your infantry out here. With your it just takes so long especially without. Yeah, this was a very good turn for him as well. Let's actually take a look at like buck rolls and stuff. Like look at that. This is a lot of damage for a 3 health recon to do. I must say, it did like that was like a perfect luck roll for him. Like, which is amazing. And then this one, he took another 2 health off of my infantry, which is like one health infantry. That's so stupid. Of course, actually, the funny thing about this was actually that he wasn't able to do enough to kill me. That's guaranteed anyways. This was a good move. That's like with a super power up, I kind of expect that to kill. That was a good move though. That wasn't like the best luck roll, but it's like still enough to neuter my infantry here. There's another nice kill. There's another kill. He's actually moving in down here with his artillery. I don't think I actually saw that, which is kind of funny. 7 to 5 on the road. Well, this is a bit more of a reasonable thing. Like, yeah, this is sort of a just normal roll, anyways. This that isn't though. That's something that you need no luck for. Like, no luck is so stupidly good. Like that. Like I said earlier, infantry into battlecopters. So stupid, I love it. No luck is so fucking stupid. Oh, also, just casually one-shotting a tank. Casually one-shotting a tank. Like, come on. and the thing is, this is like an average Lady Luck roll as well. It's so dumb. No firepower is so dumb. That was actually a very good roll for me. I feel. Yeah, he definitely could have done a lot more damage there. He could have easily one-shot me there, so I'm happy that the recon didn't do that much. One-shot. Honestly, this isn't actually that hard to do, though, because it's just a tank into a recon on a city. Recon, city, 10 health. Like, if my opponent were playing Max with his super, that's enough. With 2 comm towers in his normal power, that's a roll. So it's like not that crazy that he just got it here, and he would have been able to finish off with another unit maybe. But I think the numbers are a bit crazy. Where's now? Like 70 to 140. That's so crazy. And the best thing about Nell is that these are all like positive luck rolls as well. She has no possibility of getting negative luck. So she's always going to be doing like guaranteed 2-hit kills into these. Well, semi-guaranteed with her luck. Actually, I don't know if it's guaranteed because she only has 10. No, it's guaranteed because she gets the 10-10 from her luck. So I obviously immediately pop the super. And like, look at how low my value is. But at the end of this turn, it's going to be pretty close to where my opponent was. My opponent also didn't really build much this turn. And the reason for that is because she didn't want to drain her income from repairs next turn. Because I was definitely going to pop my superpower there. There's no question about it. The other funny thing about attacking into Lady Luck is it's actually super scary to attack into like infantry and stuff with tanks. Or even tanks into tanks. Like, oh yeah, also I get a bomber here. Because why not? But as you can see here, I've basically just looked at how much damage I was able to do. I feel like most of that was due to Hawk's superpower. Just the Black Storm just going, and there goes a fifth of your army. Like, it's so insanely good. Because of how big the map is, it's also cucking her infantry very severely, because now they can't 2-turn capture. So that's another reason why Hawk is very good in this one. So moving in here, actually isn't able to take out my infantry here, but he's going to be able to take it out eventually. Like, he's definitely stopped the cap here. He takes out my transport copter here, which is rude of him. This is very rude of him. He does a nice little... He does very optimal movement here with this transport, actually. That was a pretty good move. Now, that's never going to be able to break through. It's not a full health. And Nell only has 10% firepower day to day. So the CEO matchup, like, Nell is funny and all, but like, and her Lady Luck is super good. But honestly, Hawk's, it's just too good at this map. Global damage is just too good at this map. And he goes for the Stealth Fighter, actually. I will say, I was not at all prepared for it. I did not at all expect the Stealth Fighter there. And look at the unit count. Like, he has so many more units for me, but it's not going to end up mattering because this map is massive, and I'm going to be able to just drag it out, and like, look at the income lead I have too. It's an extra 4K. He hasn't even capped all of the neutral properties yet. Like, he's severely behind me, so that's yeah. That's going to be hurting him super badly. I get medium tank here. I could have gone Neo tank maybe, but I wanted the transport copter here to replace my dead one. Even though I'm not going to be super optimal with it. Honestly, but... Oh. And look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful moves. Of course, it's for an 8 health infantry. So, honestly not that good. And he got the APC here as well. He's going to be able to use that to refuel his stealth bomber, his stealth fader, so that'll be really nice for him. And as you can see there, Nell actually isn't able to break through that with just 2 tanks to hit. You need an extra infantry move. So, yeah, that's another reason why Nell isn't the best on this one. Like, Hawk is so... It's unbelievable. Like, and this is a very good push for her as well here. But, like, I had the units in the back here to the point where I was like, that's fine. Because I can just fall back with my other 2 units, move in with my battlecopter, fall back with my tank, move in with my tank, move in with my other tank, move in with my battlecopter here, and like he's got this guy's only at 1 health, so I don't really care what he does. His battlecopter here is at 7 health too, so it's not really too much of a threat to my battlecopters. Because I have 2 full health. The other thing about stealth fighters that I don't... I guess it's a bit Disney and off topic that all of a sudden, but the other thing that I don't really like about stealth fighters is they only have 6. And they do a lot less damage than normal bombers do, and they cost an extra 2k. So I feel like a bomber would have been much better to play than a stealth fighter. But I think the stealth fighter does a good job here. Actually. Is that the vision range? That's actually very interesting. I didn't realize that stealth fighters had 4 vision. That's such a stupid number for vision as well. Like, no units have 4 vision. It's either, like, 3 or 5 or 1. So, yeah, he's moving in here. I'd say that's pretty good, but I'm going to be able to fall back with my tank here, and because I'm Hawk, and I realized this a little bit too late in the match, but because I'm Hawk, this tank is definitely going to be able to come back with like full health later if I want to. So my opponent's going to be able to pop Lady Luck next turn, but right now I'm sort of trying to mop up as many of my opponent's units as I can, deal with the unit count sort of. This stupid infantry. Like I did a misplay a little bit earlier, and I could have wiped this guy out forever ago, but I just didn't do the play correctly. So this guy plus this artillery were they were a thorn on my side for like the entire match. It was actually annoying dealing with them. This was a pretty aggressive cat move here, but the main reason I did this was to draw fire from my opponent's infantry if they had them in their upper units, because my opponent was about to pop Lady Luck. Meaning that, like, if I can have her throw away all of her attacks on a 1k unit instead of, like, this 9k battlecopter or this 7k tank, that's worth it for me. It's very worth it for me. And my opponent's actually getting pretty close to starting to cap this corner property, actually, as well. So that's a little bit scary. Actually, one-shots with the anti-air anyways, though, so it doesn't end up mattering too much. That was a bad luck roll for my opponent. That was very good for me, because it meant that my opponent had to move in with her other infantry like that. The stealth fighter actually coming in clutch here and knocking out my battlecopter. And when I saw that, I was like, what the fuck happened here? But it's like a stealth fighter moment. Good shot there. Like, freaking Lady Luck. So stupid. I mean, he saw my bomber at some point, so he built a fighter to go deal with it. And that'll be arriving eventually. But that's a good response. Generally, especially on semi-limited income maps like this, you definitely want to respond with a fighter. But also in high funds, fighters are really good. Yeah, so I move in like this. I get trapped by the stealth fighter here. I feel like I only found it because of that. Because I moved into the tank. Because I forgot to watch the replay. But I'm moving in here for a cap in the corner property. Similar to how my opponent is over here. I have more units built up over here, though. So, plus I got medium tanks out. Medium tanks are, like, so good against unit count like this. They're so freaking good against unit count. Because they can just take out infantry really well. They can take out tanks really well. They can take out any ground units basically other than better than medium tanks are better. This is a good shot here. As normal, like even low health anti-air is still very good against like bad hoppers. Stealth fighter putting in a bit of work here, but like the total value from it is like sort of like 16k for now. So it hasn't paid for itself yet, just quite yet. And I'm about to move in with my fighter to respond. Moves in like that, so... But like look at the... And he's actually managed to even up the income lead quite a bit. So that's good. He's actually... This was kind of a scary turn for me, honestly. Because he had like 2 properties that he was threatening to be capped on, but like I've got my superpower, so he's definitely... I'm at least secure for another turn. Vera was really hoping to get Blood Roll to kill here. I forget if it was actually possible. No, that's not possible. That's definitely not possible. I move in with the medium tank here, taking out the threat unit here, which is a full health infantry. No, actually the 8 health infantry. It's the threat compared to the 1 health anti-air. Definitely the threat. I didn't have any air units in the area, and like not gonna do too much. And then here I'm actually doing a very nice. I did not need to do that. Okay. Very nice push up here actually, into the property here. So that was very nice. Getting a bit of vision over here, taking out the transport, and the infantry there. His fighter is a little bit too far away to deal with my bomber for now. And honestly, if he had just moved it straight down, he would have been able to take out my bomber. So that's definitely a misplay on his part with the fighter. Even at 8 health, I'll bet his fighter would have been able to one-shot my bomber. So what I definitely should have done was probably try and attack from below there. Because I had the vision on everything, so I could have just done that. Alright, because I have 1 vision. Oh. Back up. So that was my push there. I've got a fighter... Oh wait, no. This is my opponent's next turn. So... the other thing about fighters in this map, which makes them pretty good, is they are very good guards for this corner property here. Like, if you move straight down, you can definitely guard it with a fighter. A fighter can attack even this property down, this space down here, if I had attacked from down there with a bomber. If they just go straight down, but he didn't do that with his fighter, which was definitely a misplay for him. He moves in here and takes out the tank. It was a half-health tank, meaning his total funds for the stealth fighter is around 30k, I want to say. I mean 20k. So that's going to end up being about as much as I paid for this fighter, which is about to pay at MVS. So, yeah, he doesn't even one-shot here with that weakened fighter. Oh my god, come on. Come on, replay. And he's actually taking so many good shots against my medium tank with the artillery here. Like, I almost feel like I didn't even realize this artillery was here until this turn. Which is funny. Like, this artillery was so good for him. Even though it's at 6 health, like, look at the ammo count, but it's blinking. It's blinking ammo. This is actually guaranteed to not kill. That is very interesting to know. And it's the same damage on the bomber. So, yeah, he would have basically neutered my bomber. Of course, it's a Hawk bomber, so I can come back more readily than other air units can. I mean, other CO's air units can, because the thing about air units is you can't really repair them because they can't repair in cities. Meaning that you need, like, power healing in order to get them back in the fight, but like Hawk has that. So even if my bomber had taken a load of damage, it would have been fine. So I see the fighter here, and I immediately go, okay, that's fine. I can still do stuff with my bomber though. So I do that, kick him off with my corner property. I knew that the artillery was here, but I'm like, I have to do this anyway, just for unit count. And my medium tank can take a little bit of a pounding here, so that'll be fine. I was really hoping to get the luck damage here, but alas, I ended up not getting the roll, which was unfortunate. Bye-bye, Stealth Bomber. And bye-bye, Tank, although it's not dead, actually, so I can move in with the Battlecopter here, funnily enough. So yeah. Getting the fighter here, it's going to move in to deal with the other fighter. Basically, I just built this to try and protect my bomber, because if I can get the first shot on the fighter here, well, even if my opponent got the first shot here, it's not even that good. But like, this is really good. So like, I definitely want this to deal with his fighter. But now, again, Hawk's superpower coming into real handy here because of the weakened nature of all of these units. But it's also going to end up being good to just wipe up her Battlecopters if she starts throwing them over here to deal with my medium tanks. Like she is here. So that'll end up being pretty good. I'm definitely gonna get this property next turn actually. Like we're even on income right now, but that's gonna flip. That's gonna flip right this second. So I'm actually moving in the corner here first because I'm very scared that he's gonna try and move in here to take me out. I also get the APC here because my bomber was running low on fuel. Like all it did was move over here and then move back here, and it's already running low on fuel. Like that's how big this map is. It's kind of insane. It's like, so you definitely need an APC for your flying units. Maybe not your Battlecopters actually, because they end up getting chewed up and they don't take as much fuel. But definitely for your more expensive flying units. And here I actually take the lead in unit count again. So that was like a very important turning point. I feel like my opponents definitely ended up doing a bunch of misplays with his expensive units. Like he just threw them out there like they were nothing. Like his stealth fighter here and then his fighter down here as well. For basically little to nothing. Like taking out my unit count is important to know, but like you can't really just use your expensive units for your unit count. And like I was able to keep my medium tank down here, which was shelled by the artillery, alive. He wasn't able to do that with his fighter, which is about to go down. Yep. And like just the funds difference alone, and the fact that I was ahead for so long in income, and I'm ahead again now, like, yeah, I take out, yeah, I take out the Battlecopter there with the fighter, and now he's kind of going, oh, now he's got two fighters. Now I've got like two fighters, so like I've got basically just got de facto control of the air, so he's definitely got to pop out anti-airs to deal with that, but like it's not going to be super good to do either, because they're not going to be effective. I'll be able to just outrun them with my fighters and just dance around them in circles. He goes for Lady Luck here. Actually doesn't do much here. And the reason for that is luck damage is like super, it's bad once you get down to low health. That's why Nell likes her units to be super healthy and at full health as much as she can, so that she can maximize her luck damage, but like she can't do much once her units are weakened, which makes it really tough actually for her to fight against Hawk, because he can just pop his superpower again. And over time, if she's holding onto units, she either has to send them back for repairs, which will just drain her income, or she ends up losing luck damage, and she's not able to do much with it with her superpower. So that's Such a stupid roll. Swear to God, like this will be the same damage. Like 135. She could have one-shot it. Like, freaking no, man. Like, even with her weakened forces, she's able to do a massive counter push here to keep me off of this property. It's just with luck. It's like, look at this. Like, she was able to take out my infantry, or like, and she only was able to. She wasn't really taking much damage in return either. That's the important part. Not that she was able to 2-hit KO on point against an infantry on point, which is pretty easy to do even if you have just like 10% firepower. So 20, like, no, that wasn't gonna do anything. That was never gonna do anything. Why would you do that? I mean, I guess it's okay, because, but like, don't do that. Just save it for battlecopters. So I pop Black Storm again, and like, I'm so far ahead now. Like, that's 122 before I popped that, and now I'm at 160. I had so many injured units as well. Like, look at how much damage I'm going to be able to hold on to. Of course, I'm losing in unit count again, which is kind of funny, but I'm about to wipe the floor with a bunch of her units anyways. Like, there goes a bunch of stuff. I just casually used my bomber to take out an infantry because there wasn't really much muscle range. Excuse me. And I'm not real, like, he's done a good amount of damage. Like, honestly, like, just dealing with this on its own was worth like 5k income, probably ending up to that. Even though I didn't really need him for that, if I'm being completely honest. And I think he's taken out like at least a tank or two and then just infantry. Like, he's paid for himself, even though I don't feel like he's necessarily paid for himself just on the sheer numbers so far. But I'm mainly just moving into here just to whittle down his infantry and keep him off my ass, sort of. Because I definitely have a bunch of exposed properties over here, so the more damage I can do to these infantry, the better. I think it's at this point I realized he had an artillery in this forest. Which is like, oh, now he's got 2 artillery for being super effective. Like, his artillery were very good in this map, I will say. He was very good. These 2 artillery were super good. Which is important. Using your artillery effectively is super important when you're over 1 income. But it's not going to end up mattering. It's not going to end up mattering. If he's able to interrupt this cap here... I think it's turn 24? Yeah, it's going to be over in a couple of turns. But, like, I have too much shit in the area, like... Yeah. It doesn't matter right now. I'm moving in with medium tank, I'm doing so much damage, like... I'm ahead, I basically have double my opponent's value, and, like, even though the unit count's very similar, like, the sheer amount of value I have in my units is definitely adding up. Like, oh my god, I almost have triple. Like, that's a good move turn for her. She actually goes for the lucky star here, which I think at this point was like a last-ditch effort to try and make a dent into my forces here. Like, she does a good job here with her infantry, but she's just whittling her infantry's health down. Like, she's not going to be able to do anything to cap any capping with them, because I'm going to have enough reinforcements to just wipe them out before they're able to do anything in 3 turns, basically. So I think that was what she sort of had to do at that point, but like, it's not going to be enough. It's really helping for our luck. I keep on throwing my recons in, hoping to get a luck roll and not getting the luck roll. It's just unfortunate, honestly, but whatever. Could move in with his anti-air against my fighter bear, but like, it doesn't matter at this point. Like, I'm so ahead in everything that it doesn't matter at this point. Especially because I just took another property here off of him. I've got another one, but I'm threatening the cap on as well. So my opponent actually goes for resignation here. And yeah, I'm actually only 2 properties ahead here. And like, look at the KD ratio. He killed so many of my... Well, actually, he didn't kill that I actually managed to out-kill him, interestingly enough. That's definitely some joint cap stuff. KD ratio. But yeah, he's not gonna be able to take 2 properties here. He could probably stop me from capping. I'm actually going for a lab cap here, even though it doesn't matter this time. But he's not going to be able to take any of this back. He doesn't have any infantry in range. He only has, I guess, 4 turns left at this point. So, like, theoretically, if he had all of his units in one place, he could maybe push and get a couple properties there. But the issue with that is, like, I just push into the other area. So we'd end up trading and it wouldn't matter. And like even a 2 property swing like this is a significant income gap. It's 4K, which is actually no, that's 2 properties. That's 2 properties. But like it's so important to have. So it's like 2 properties that I am up by. And it's like insurmountable at this point. Like in 5, even in 4 turns, because the map is so big, so spread out, you can't do that. It's impossible. You can't break through that. I think my early income lead was very good. My opponent got a very, very good lucky star off. Well, no, Lady Luck. Like my opponent was super good with the luck rolls. And just optimally choosing which units to attack, because that's a big part of Luxios as well. You need to know which engagements are the most worth your time to take. And he did significant damage there. He was able to get a lot of one-shots off with the Lady Luck. Like, Lady Luck is so crazy powerful. But on a big map like this, Hawk will just overwhelm you. It doesn't matter. Like, he will eat you up. It doesn't matter how many units you have. It doesn't matter how much you throw at him. He's just going to be able to absorb it. Especially if he takes an early income lead like I was able to take. So that's basically it. And yeah. So that's it for today's match. Next match hasn't even been scheduled yet. Actually, looks like it might be being scheduled now. DeadFS. I'm gonna say right now, I'm not sure if I'm gonna win this one if I'm matched up with DeadFS. Okay, so. Like, look at that evil rating. So next episode might be a finale, we'll see. I also might be matched up with someone else, depending on whether one of these guys actually finished up as well. So, we'll see. Yep, the fun thing about this, though, is it's not going to be it's not a standard, like, Global League match. It's Brush with Life, which is a weird match in and of itself. But also, Hachi and Colin are allowed. And they're both not in Global League, so that'll end up being very interesting. Oh my god, this is basically an hour-long video. I hope you enjoyed the long match on Stallingrad. Like if you managed to stay alive for this long, like kudos to you. But anyways, if I'm against DeadFS, it's either going to be a super short match or a super prolonged match. Yeah. Like I guess there's a chance that I win if I'm matched up against DeadFS. Like I'm gonna try. And Hachi is really good, but Hachi versus Hachi is just gonna be stupid. The thing about Brushless Life, it's a little bit weird, is it's actually only 40 properties, it looks like. 2 comp towers, but 40 properties. Which is very interesting. Yeah, well I don't know when that's gonna come out. We'll see. But I guess like, subscribe, and all that nonsense. If you want to tune in for more, I will be getting this match out eventually when it's done. I think there's like another 2 weeks left for the tournament, so if I do somehow manage to win, I'm gonna be matched up against Aegis probably, and Aegis is also really good. So it'll be 2 really tough matches in a row if I do end up winning this one. Winter Rapid is a funny map as well, but we're probably not going to see that from me anyways. But yeah, I guess, yeah, I should stop rambling and just end the video already, but yeah, so I will see you guys for the next and maybe last episode of this series. Bye.